All right. Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Got my summer due now. Hey, I thought we'd talk a little bit today about strength building, building strength. In particular, I want to share some things about the experimenting I've been doing with building strength, both because you might want to try some of these things, but also to make a point about experimenting and not giving up, and also about turning perhaps another chapter in this idea of turning your weaknesses into strengths. So I have a weakness in my joints. They're prone to soft tissue damage. It's fairly easy for me to get tendinitis and joint stuff, so I have to be careful. I also have a congenital issue in my lower back. A couple years ago my back went out really bad. I was like the evolution chart for about a week there. Every day I went up to, you know, being back to normal, and I made up my mind at that point that I was going to put some extra special attention on posture and also some extra attention on building strength, particularly in my upper body, to help prevent that from happening again. So I started doing push-ups, and a couple of different kinds, just out here and in close. And what happened was I started building up and doing more of them and getting stronger and getting excited, and I just overdid it, and true to form, I ended up hurting my elbow. And then I was doing some bagua shortly after that, and I ended up hurting my rotator cuff, and then I couldn't do any push-ups at all. I mean, I couldn't even do one, and it really bummed me out because I was getting up to doing like 40 and stuff, and I was getting all excited. So I had to retreat. I had to take it easy, and I still wanted to do the push-ups, but they weren't making my shoulder or my elbow any better, and I started doing partial push-ups, like just going down enough that I felt where the injury kicked in, and that really helped, and gradually I got to where I could do push-ups again. And I sort of happened on this by accident, and then I found out a little bit more that there might even be some research that this actually is a good way to build strength. What I started doing is short sets frequently throughout the day rather than doing them all at once. So here's what I do now, and this is really helpful to me. So first off, I do just 10 regular push-ups. Now I don't go for speed, and I don't go for numbers, and I don't go for kind of just barely getting my chest down. I do a complete push-up. Sometimes I even do what I call deadlift push-ups, where you do a complete fresh push-up each time. So I'm going to start with the 10 regular push-ups that I do. So I go here like this, and I go 1. So that time I'm exhaling with my exertion. Every other time I do it, I inhale with the exertion. I hope that was 10. I think it was 10. So notice I'm doing them smoothly and evenly, and sometimes I even do them slower. Like I'll go. So make sure that they're complete, and make sure that they're synced up with my breath, and a nice, complete, solid push-up. So then I flip over and I do just 10 crunches with my knees bent. Nothing crazy. I'm 57 years old and I'm prone to injury, so I've got to be careful. So what I do is I sit back like this. Now I put my hands behind my back, back of my head, not to pull my head up. I'm not pulling my head up. I'm barely touching, but because I play the guitar, my shoulders are kind of uneven, asymmetrical, so I noticed when I went back, this elbow, my right elbow, was off the ground. So I make a point when I come down to pull my elbows to the ground without my head coming all the way down. So I pull back like that. So I do the crunch here, and then when I come back down, I don't put my head down, but I put my elbows down firmly, and since I started doing that, I can relax my elbows and they just both touch the ground equally, so that's good. So I do 10 of these. There. And after a tiny bit of rest, then I do 10 more push-ups, except this time I've got my elbows in close to my body so that it works more the lats and more of the shoulder stabilizers than like pecs, like the regular push-ups work. So, get myself set up a little bit more narrow, and I do 10 of these. There. So again, I'm syncing it up with my breath, sometimes a little slower than that, but I make sure my chest really hits the ground, not just the base of my sternum or my belly. I really make sure I get a complete one in there. So after a little bit of rest, a few seconds, then I do one more type of sort of push-ups. I learned this from a yoga buddy of mine, and man, they are great for your shoulders. So what I do here is I get my hands under my shoulders, keep my legs, keep my arms straight, don't bend my elbows at all, and just do it up here in the shoulder. There. So I get 10 of those as well. Now, I also do other flexibility exercises during this little portion of my workouts, but I do a forward bend for 10 breaths, and I stretch my quads for 10 breaths, and I do a few other hand exercises, and I have a gripper thing, like a little rubber egg that you squeeze, and I do 10 firm squeezes. But when I do the squeezes, I don't just squeeze with my wrist like this. I squeeze and I let my whole frame absorb and push into that, and I'll do 10 firm squeezes on that side, 10 firm ones on that side. So not just my forearms, but my forearm and my whole, I affirm my whole body as I do it. So everything gets stronger. And then I also do, I have a pull-up bar at home, so I'm being very careful with the pull-ups because I really don't want to hurt my shoulders or my elbows, and I've done that before doing pull-ups. So what I'm doing now is can you see my hands? I grab the bar here like this. I'm hanging from the bar, my feet are hanging, and I just pull myself up this far, and then I go down. Like that, and then I go down. So up to about there, and then down. And I do 10 of those. And then without letting go, because I feel like that's safe to do, I can do this, I hang on and I lift both knees up to my chest. I lift the knee up to the chest, and when I bring it down, I actually extend it back a little bit, work my low back a little bit, and then there. So I do 10 lifts there. And again, both the mini pull-ups and the leg lifts, I do with my breath. Exhaling on the exertion usually on those. And then and doing that. So I do the 10 leg lifts. And then if I have time, I do something that my buddy Neil told me about, which is where they did some research into aerobic exercise and what was the minimum amount of aerobic or kind of full-on workout that you could get cardiovascularly, the minimum amount that would give you benefits. And they came up with 20 minutes or 20 seconds of all-out, fast as you can go, some kind of an exercise, and then 10 minutes rest, 20 on, 10 off, 20 on, 10 off for just 1 minute. So what I've worked up to where I do like 30 seconds, and then 15 seconds off, and then 30 seconds, and 15 seconds off, and 30 seconds. And what I do is, in my low body, I'm just kind of running in place like this, and with my upper body, I start throwing punches like that, or I'm throwing punches like this, or sometimes just elbows, moving elbow shots behind me like that. And I do that as fast as I can go for 30 seconds. And then I rest for 15, fast as I can go for 30 seconds, rest for 15, fast as I can go for 30, and rest for 15. So those are some of the things I'm doing just to kind of make my body a little more stable, a little more sturdy. And the key here is that I do this 3 or 4 times a day. So at the end of the day, if I hit it 4 times, I've done 80 push-ups, and then another 40 of these shoulder type push-ups. And I've done the 40 of the crunches, and I've done, 40 of these, and so by the end of the day, I don't always do it. Sometimes I just hit it twice, 3 times, 4 times, minimum of twice. But sometimes on a good day when I can swing it, I don't like to do it on a full stomach and have other things to do, but I try to do it 3 or 4 times a day, and that really makes a difference. Now another thing I've done, which is really, really great, been changing my whole Tai Chi practice. And I got this from my buddy Joel Hartshorn up in Seattle, and that is, I do my forms with hand weights on. These are from M Power. I like these particular brand. You can get them on Amazon. They're not too expensive. They seem to be sturdy enough. These are 2-pounders. I didn't want to overdo it. They make them heavier. They can get a 3-pound one, but I like 2. 2's about right. So what I do is, I just run through my regular forms, except I've got that weight out there. And what that weight does, it's surprisingly little. It's not that much really, just 2 pounds in each hand. But anywhere I'm a little out of balance, a little out of alignment, this weight makes it hurt. So what I have to do is I constantly have to be extra special aware of my alignment, so that while I'm doing the movements, whatever they are, I have to stay upright and I have to stay aligned. I can feel this weight, and I have to drop it through my elbows and shoulders, down into my spine and down into my hips and legs. So, especially movements where you're, away from your body a little bit, like out here, those kind of movements, really have to pay attention to alignment. It slows me down a little bit because I have to take those beats of rest at the end of movements. Some styles don't permit you to take that beat of rest. Ours does. If yours doesn't, I feel sorry for you because it's awesome. So you finish your movement and you rest. And as I'm resting, I'm letting that weight help me align, help me feel where I'm resisting, where I might be twisting out a little bit. So I did take it easy when I got these. I just did it for short periods, like 5 minutes at a time, and gradually worked up to where I could do it for a whole 50-minute set. And again, that's just me because I'm prone to these joint problems, so I have to be careful. I don't want to strain. I don't want to overdo it. I don't take exercises to the point where I'm straining for that last one, because that's where I get injured. And when I get injured, I can't do any. And as a consequence of doing these things, I feel like just a short amount of time, I've only started doing this short set method for the last, I don't know, maybe 8 weeks, maybe less, and I feel significantly stronger. Doing it with the weights only for the last month or so, and I feel significantly stronger doing this. Great for standing meditation positions. You add that weight. And honestly, from doing these, I don't know how overweight, fat people, I mean, if you're 40 pounds overweight, you have 20 of these things around your midsection or on your body. I just don't know how they do it. Because to me, just 2 of them, I really feel it. So, especially on movements where the hands are away from the body a little bit. But it's great for kicking. It's great for all kinds of stuff. But I do recommend, especially if you're like me, a little bit older, flirting with 60 here, and prone to joint problems, take it easy, go slow, don't push it and don't rush it. I ordered some 4-pound ball weights. They're like a soft ball that weighs 4 pounds, so that'll weigh as much as both of these. And I'm hoping to do some standing meditations and perhaps some Bagua circle walking with those things. I don't know how much, twisty stuff I'm going to do with 4 pounds in my hand, but I'm gonna see, and again, I'm gonna take it easy. I'm also looking to find like a weightlifter's barbell without the weights at the end, just the metal bar, and look at doing some gentle staff work with the metal bar instead of with the wooden staff, and just see how it feels. I'm looking for ways to add weight to what I'm doing that will increase my strength. Now, all that said, strength can make you tight if you don't also counter it with stretching and with softness. So I'm putting extra special attention when I take the weights off and when I'm not doing strength building to make sure that I really relax and soften. So when I'm doing my movements, I'm really working on relaxation and softness and smoothness as I go through them, because I just don't want strength for its own sake. I see people with sort of gym muscles, they have a lot of strength, and it's more for appearances, and they're not very coordinated. So I'm really interested in taking this strength and putting it to use in coordinated movements. So if you're into strength training, I highly recommend that you run or play tennis or dance or basketball or Tai Chi or martial arts or something that coordinates that strength, where your whole body can flow with that strength, as opposed to being a bunch of segments that are all, you know, strong but perhaps kind of tight and disconnected. So I'm putting extra attention on softness concurrent with doing all this kind of strength work. So the short sets frequently, I just can't say enough about that. It's just saved me and enabled me to develop strength without injuring myself. And I feel like I really am getting stronger significantly, and no strain at all. Like, I won't do that set that I just did. I won't do that for another few hours. Like, maybe before lunch I'll go home and do it again, take a little nap. Before dinner I'll do it again, and I'll do it maybe once more late at night, and you know, I feel like it's really working. So those are some tips in how I made my weakness into kind of a strength. It enabled me to do something that I think might even be better for developing strength than doing it the other way. It's also about developing that strength without giving up the softness, and also about experimenting and not giving up. I could easily have just given up when my shoulder got hurt, my elbow got hurt. I could just say, oh, you know what, to hell with this, I'm not doing this, I'm too old, or I'm too something to do this. But I just really wanted this. I really knew that strength was going to help me. My low back feels fantastic. I haven't had any, I can still feel the issue there, the structural weakness, but I haven't had any pain or difficulty back there. I went for a weekend on the beach recently, spent 4 or 5 days doing lots of beach walking on sand, and my sacroiliac or my low back starts to hurt within 3 or 4 hours when I do that, and then hurts for the whole weekend, or just tender, and this time I felt nothing. So this stuff is really, really working to do what I hoped it would do, make me more sturdy and less prone to injury. So experiment with this. I think it's a great idea to add strength to your Tai Chi workout. Experiment, you know, listen to your body, listen to what feels good. If something starts to feel bad, back off, or maybe consult a trainer or an exercise physiologist or a doctor if you really feel like you need some help that way. But simple things like this have been doing me a lot of good. So I thank you for watching. I much appreciate it. If you like this kind of thing, check out my YouTube channel, subscribe if you wish, or visit my website, GeneBurnett.com.